Okay. I want to do I don't want to do diagrams today. I want to do charts. I want us to do some charts work. So which trade is this? USD JPY. I'm actually waiting for this trade. Okay. Let's go to BTC. Can you see my chart
Yes, yes.
on BTC bar?
Yeah,
All right. It's showing BTC.
yes.
All right.
BTC 1 hour time frame.
Okay, that's good. So let's go to 3 hours or any of the time frame for us to do some works together. Let's do 2 hours. Okay. So this is the same thing I've been talking about the major break of structures, the minor break of structures, and liquidity. That's what we are still combining. That's what we're still going to explain today, and a little bit of new topic, sha. Well, let's just see how it goes before the time runs out. All right. So on this particular kind of trend, this is an uptrend from this particular zone, from this particular area. Let me mark it out. From here upward shows that it's actually going up, shows that the market is actually going very bullish. And the market
Yeah.
it has been creating series of higher lows. Don't forget this is a major break, and this is the hourly time frame. So you need to be very, very, very sensitive when marking your break of structures so that you make mistakes, because some things that you actually feel like they are not valid, they are very, very valid on hourly time frame. Now, here we have a break of structures here. Is a break of structure. This is another break of structure. This is another break of structures here. This is another break of structures here. All right. Now, from what we talked about last in our previous class, you see the market has been moving, the market has been selling. Now, this is the reason of this that I always mark out something like this, that I mark out to do something like this. Now you should see the reasons now. Now, this is a typical example of what I marked. You see, so the market starts creating highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and low. Are you getting it now? Then high
Yeah.
and low. Now you see the market keep moving on. And so this is a very good example of why I mark our structures in this form. Now, let me take down this because I said I don't want to move this thing today. So now when you get your trend, firstly, you have to get your trend on your major break of structures. You have to spot out your major break of structure first before you can actually go to your minor break of structure. The reason why I'm actually going back to this thing is because for you to understand the structure very well. Because when we start proceeding to the MSS and other things, you won't get lost. That's why I'm actually doing this thing, going back to that structure, going back to it always. I know what I'm doing. That's why you see I'm going back to that structure, and liquidity. It is very, very important. If you don't understand it, that means you are not getting it at all. So that's it. That's the reason why I'm actually going back to that structure. So now this is the typical example of the diagram I always draw when the markets pull down to start giving you a very good movement. Now, these are break of structures. Now we have this break of structures that mitigate this, that shows that this particular point is our previous high, give us a new high, and this is another higher low that the market creates, give us another new higher high that mitigate this, that gives us a very good break of structures. So this is 2 hour time frame, whereby we have our major break of structures on the 2 hour time frame. Let me take off this. Now, once you have your major break of structures on hourly time frame, now let's use this. Okay, let me use this particular trade as an example now. This is my major break of structure. Now let's go to 30 minutes to spot out our minor break of structures before we look for an inducement. Let's go to 15 for a clearer one. And if it's not clear enough, we'll go to 5. Now, this is a very clear break of structure. This is a very clear minor break of structure. We have these minor break of structures here. This is my minor break of structure. And if you go to 5 minutes, you still see another clear one for you to use. Where is it? All right, yeah. You see, it is very, very clear on 5 minutes time frame. It is very, very, very clear. But let's go back to 15 minutes so that we'll do what we want to do there. And all right. Now let's take out this. Let's take out this. And let's take out this. I'm just trying to use it to explain what is happening, how I took this trade rather. I think this is 1:10 on BTC. So now let's go. Like I said, this is the hourly time frame that we spot on 2 hours. This is our major break of structures on 2 hours, and we have our minor break of structures here. So before this particular trade happens, something like this has formed. This major break of structures has happened, and I was actually waiting for the price to give me an inducement. Now, the inducement is where, how do I explain it? Let me go back to 2 hours so that I will show you. I will show you what the inducement we talked about that last time. Where's that diagram, safe? Okay, I think I've closed it. Let me draw it back. The inducement is this, the first pullback, So after having this, your major, now the first pullback. So I'm actually talking about this particular first pullback that happens after the market has mitigated our minor break of structures and our major break of structures. That first pullback that happens, okay, yeah, it's very clear here. Let me use these 2 hours then to explain it. All right. After this is the major break of structure that I was actually talking about, and our minor break of structure was actually sitting here. So we have this impulsive move that break both the minor and the major together. Then we have our first retracement. This first retracement was here, was sitting here. Our first retracement that reacts before this market comes down to pick our entry. We've not gotten to the entry part now, so there's nothing to explain about entry for now. But all I want you to understand is the major break of structure, the minor break of structure, and your first inducement that happens. That's what we are actually looking at. So I feel like this particular diagram is very, very clear and understandable for you, right?
Yes, yes, please.
All right. So do you have any question before we proceed? Before we look at more examples
No,
together.
yes,
You don't have any question, right?
yes.
All right, let's proceed then. Now, like I said in our last class, I said you have to measure your inducement if it is on 50% or more before you can actually decide. This particular inducement is going to give you the entry model. That's the POI you're going to be using, either your breaker block model or your order block model. Now let's briefly talk about POI since you don't have any question about what we've talked about. So we have the breaker block and the order block entry. Now, the reason why we have the breaker block and the order block entry is because this particular this particular inducement is going to determine the entry model you will be using. Now, let me draw the two together so that you can understand what I'm actually talking about. So you have to differentiate the difference between your POIs that you'll be using. Either you'll be using the breaker block or you'll be using your order block entry as your entry model. So now I'm going to use this particular image for, let's use this as the order block entry, order block entry, and I'm going to use this guy here as a breaker block entry. I'm going to use this guy here as a breaker block entry. Breaker block entry. All right. So we'll be using these two diagrams. We have to differentiate the difference between the breaker block entry and the other block entry now. The reason why I said this particular inducement is going to determine the entry that you'll be using is after getting your major break of structures, now we've moved from structures to liquidity. Now we are on first POI. So uh, after getting your major break of structures and your minor break of structures, after getting your inducement, now your inducement will actually determine the kind of entry you are going to use. Like I said, if you are using a breaker block or order block. Now, the reason why I said is going to determine your entry, this is where it comes from. They have some rules and regulation that governs the POI. I think that one will be shared in the next class. But this is just a brief explanation on POI because we are still going to do more of we're still going to dig more on this POI. I'm just trying to do a brief explanation on it for you so that you understand it. So after getting your major and your minor, now this particular inducement, your inducement stop here, which is your first pullback. Your inducement, take note, your inducement doesn't mitigate this major break of structures that happen here. If your inducement doesn't mitigate your major break of structures and go back to give you 50% and above, if the market go back to give you 50%, either 50% like this or above it or break it like this, then you'll be using your breaker block. This is going to turn to your breaker block entry. Breaker block are other block that are not valid. I'm very sure you know that already. Are you there?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
You are not responding now.
No, sorry, Jan.
I said the
Okay, you
reason
said okay, go ahead.
you understand
Go
what
ahead.
breaker block is all about, right? The other block that failed, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, that's good. So the reason why you'll be using breaker block here is because this inducement did not mitigate this your major break of structures that happens here. This
Okay,
inducement that means your first pullback, your inducement doesn't mitigate this your major break of structures. That means you'll be using your major break of structures as your breaker block entry. That's where the markets went. We have to break it either 50% and above, come back to take your entry in here, then you buy up from there. Now, if
okay,
so, this is the second entry point. Now, if peradventure your major break of structures was mitigated, if this pullback, now this inducement mitigate this, do something like this, go up, give you 50% and above, and come down, we'll be using your order block entry as your entry point.
okay.
So you measure it either on 50% or more, or it can actually break it. So you need to be specific of what you are doing. If the market gives you something like this on 50% on dot, it's still valid. But if it doesn't, then your entry will be shaken. So it has to give you on dot on 50% or more, or the market goes back to break the previous higher high. But I will advise you to always measure your inducement before you spot out the entry points that you're using. Then your inducement will actually give you the kind of entry point that you use. Either you'll be using your breaker block or your order block. Are we clear? Eh?
Yeah, so I guess this right now
I can't hear you.
I can make a trade. What's up?
What is it? I can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Let me call you back. I'm in a class, please. Let me call you back. I'm in a class. I'm in a class. I'm in a class. Yeah. I said any question. Do you have any question? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Do you have any question? That's what I'm saying. Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So do you have any question concerning the PO high that we just talked about? That's what I'm saying.
So, show me your screen.
Eh?
I'm not seeing. I can't see your.
You're not seeing my
I
screen.
can't see your screen. I'll tell you ask. Yes.
Did you log out? But you can see it now. Can you see it now? Was your network bad?
Hello.
Hello? Was your network bad?
Yeah, can you hear me? My
Was
network
your
has
network
been
bad?
very, very bad.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do you have any question? That was what I was saying the other time.
Okay, I'm still here to hear. Um, After I spotted my minor and major break of structure, like you said.
Yeah.
So I have to wait that inducement, like a retracement.
That's the first pullback. Yeah, 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 yeah. First pullback. This guy is wasting my time. Hello.
I don't know. My network has been bad. No,
All right. Just drop your question. Drop your question for me on WhatsApp.
to see this playing. So